Hello, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about, is it too late to start an LLC? Maybe, maybe not. So yesterday I came into work. I'd been messing with my network over the weekend and it didn't go well. Oops. I couldn't get stuff to work yesterday. I had to work on it. That's why I didn't go live. I had it all set up. I was excited. It was Monday. It's the start of a new week. And it didn't work. So I'm gonna move that live that I had scheduled yesterday to later this week. So that's yeah, lots of crazy stuff going on. I'm closing cases. I'm starting new matters. It's exciting. There's all sorts of, you know what? I think that deserves a little bit of confetti. There we go. Woohoo! Right? Like, starting new, starting fresh is awesome. It is great. It is a great new week. Hey, we're almost into September. Can you believe that? That's nuts. That's crazy. So anyway, yeah, I would love to hear about how your day is going, how your week. Leave them in the comments. And also, hey, guess, check this out. Watch. I believe it's fixed. There's the one. And there's the other. I finally got them to work. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I worked on it and stuff didn't work, but now it does work. So, yeah, so now chat away, please, by all means. If you need to give Restream permission to use your stuff, make sure you do that so that we can see what's going on. And love to chat, and hopefully you're here to get that. So please, that's awesome. So yeah, we're gonna talk about, is it too late to start an LLC? We're gonna get started right now. So there are not too many absolutes in life. There's, absolutely, even, okay, yeah, there's very few absolutes. Like, I mean, I'd love to hear what you think, but I don't think there's too many absolutes in life. And that's true in this case as well. You have to consider that when you decide to start an LLC is a personal decision if you're a single member, and obviously a partnership decision if you're a multi-member. Now, these are important because the people that I know and people that I've come with and the people that I have previous clients, not a lot of, not all, are procrastinators. And I get it. You're like, one more thing, or do I have the money? And I totally understand. Those are all valid reasons for to kind of think about what it is that you're hoping for in starting an LLC. So, but there are certain times and that you really should have started an LLC or other business entity a lot sooner. And we'll talk about those. In life and in love, it depends. Your case is fact specific. So this is general information. Please take it as such. You should not make the decision on when to start an LLC based upon a YouTube video or any other type of Google search that you might do. This is just your information. This is just so that you're educated. And I love working with clients that are educated and come to me with questions that I can help answer and clarify because they've done their research, but they recognize that Google is not the end all be all, right? That it doesn't have every answer. And maybe Google's perception of their question was inaccurate. And so you really want to avoid depending on Google to make your decisions for you. even if you think it's simple, it might be a little more complex than you might think. It's like law and medicine, right? Dr. Google or attorney Google, whichever you want to go with it, don't work really well, because what happens is you don't know the next questions to ask. All you're asking is the question that you know to ask. And so there's usually like 4 or 5 or 10 or 15 or I don't know, a lot of questions that we ask you when we're discussing your specific matter with you that help you make the best decision possible. And as an entrepreneur, the goal is to make the best decisions possible as you go, because bad decisions can lead to bad results, bad consequences. So, fact specific, generally speaking, though, it's not too late to start an LLC. Unless, and here are the unlesses, here are the things that are going to put a little hitch in your giddy up, a little kink in your plans, okay? So if someone has already registered the same name as you would like at the state level, it's too late for that name. You can come up with variations of it, and there's another exception to this, and they're kind of related. You can pre-order your name. At least in California, you can basically say, I want to register this name ahead of time, but I'm not ready to start yet. And there are some strategic reasons why you'd want to do that. And that's why you would come to me and we would talk about those things. If you're not ready to get started, but you have this great idea for a name and you're like, I don't want to lose that, we can actually reserve that name at the Secretary of State. But if you're ready to get started, or if you're soon to get started, don't put it off. This is the procrastinators procrastinators anonymous lesson for the day. If you're planning on starting a business, starting with an LLC is a very smart way to go. And we've talked plenty about LLCs, so I'd refer to those videos rather than that. So we're just talking about timing of an LLC. So it's not too late, generally speaking, except for when someone has already registered your name. And then you have to pick a new name. And that sucks, because you might have had the perfect name for your business. And so it's crucial that if you're deciding on it, that you don't wait. A lot of people are like, I don't want to deal with that. Well, that's why you have us. That's why you have an attorney, to deal with the work, right? We do the work for you. It's a lot easier. There's no reason for you to have to do that work. So that's, if someone's already registered it, you're kind of out of luck. I'm so sorry. Then the other thing that you want to be careful of is if someone's already trademarked your name. That runs into some other issues we're not going to get into, but if you can steer clear of that trademarked name, you're a lot better off. Like if Coca-Cola, Google, Apple, those are trademarked names. Good luck. Like, they will beat you into submission if you try to register a name similar to them. Now, could you do variations? Sure, because they don't trademark everything. Like, they can't trademark everything, because that's not how trademarks work, but I digress. So point is that you want to do the research to make sure that that name's not trademarked, because that can cause further legal problems down the road. And on top of that, if it's already trademarked, then you can't trademark it too. And even if it's similar, you might not be able to trademark it because of the risk of confusion, and that happens. It's just, so it's very crucial that you don't try to slip one in there like a lot of people try to do. Oh, well, it's just a variation. No, if it could potentially cause confusion, the trademark attorney, reviewing attorney, will reject it. And I've had them rejected because of that. And it wasn't, I thought it was dissimilar enough. It wasn't anything fault on my part. It was the trademark attorney felt like it was too similar, and fighting them on it is a losing battle because they're kind of like a judge. Good luck. That's what appeals are for. But anyway, I digress. So if someone's already trademarked it, I would steer clear of that name. I would pick a different name. The next thing is If you are currently in litigation, you cannot go back in time as much as you may want and start an LLC to protect your assets. It is very time sensitive. You only get the benefits once it's started. There is no retroactive. There is no ability to make it, fix it, that sort of thing. I've actually had that question. And that's why I wanted to bring it up. In that instance, it is too late. You cannot register an LLC. You can register an LLC, but it's only good for stuff going forward. It's not good for stuff going backwards, with some exception to that. What do I mean? So you can transfer assets into the LLC, but when you're in the midst of litigation, it can look like you're trying to thwart the law. And on top of that, if you're in the middle of litigation in your name, then it isn't going to change. Like you can't then get your name dropped out of the lawsuit and just get the business in the lawsuit. That's not how it works. Nobody's going to let you off the lawsuit in that scenario. It's just not possible. It's only going forward that applies. So that's why it's important to do it from the start as opposed to waiting, because you don't know what's going to happen. Crap happens. I mean, like, honestly, sincerely, and I don't mean that to be like pessimistic, but the idea is that, I always, what is it? Hope for the best, plan for the worst. If you follow that mantra in business, excuse me, one second. I don't know why my voice does that. If for whatever reason, I can talk all the rest of the time, but then I start talking on here, and I start sounding weird. Anyway, so if you're currently in litigation, I'm sorry, but you're probably too late for past transgressions, whatever. So that's a no bueno, right? That's why I'm telling you, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. If we get your stuff set up in LLC with good contracts, good insurance, all of these things can save you some serious money down the road. Protect your personal assets, protect your business, protect so many things. Be that employee. Dang it. Be that employer, that entrepreneur that is not just going on a wing and a prayer and hopes you don't get sued. Now, there are certain industries that are more likely to be sued than others. But that doesn't mean if you think that you can't get sued just because it's not going to happen. Like, you can be sued for things that you don't even know about, which is one of the reasons why you need an attorney. But aside from that, never assume that just because you're a good person doesn't mean that somebody won't try to sue you for something, because there are perceived wrongs that they translate into legal wrongs and will take you to the cleaners on, and will be very expensive to handle that. So that's why you want to avoid litigation, obviously. But point is you can't go back in time and create an LLC and hope it works. It won't. Just won't. The other instances, and this is a time issue as well, if you've already signed contracts or sold products in your name, okay, then while you can do an amendment or a novation to bring it into the LLC terms, they don't have to sign it. It's just how it is. That's the truth. So you could cease working for them, but then they could sue you under breach of contract for the original contract. That's a whole different mess. So that's why, so there is possibilities, but you can't go back in time and make that contract say something that it doesn't say. That's also called fraud, in case you were wondering. So you can't do that. So time is important, which is why the consideration of when you start an LLC is so important, is it shouldn't be done lightly. You shouldn't just think about it and go, well, all my friends say this, or I don't really have a need, because you don't even know if you have a need. That's just the truth. Like, you don't know what you don't know. This is why, that's why people become attorneys. That's why they become doctors, to help people. That's what I did. That's why I'm here. My parents were my inspiration. Information. No. My parents were my inspiration to help businesses like yours. And that's one of the reasons why I come on YouTube. But the point is that when you assume something that you'll never get sued or you'll never need to enforce a contract, that's just not true. I've seen some pretty bad contracts in my time, and they ended up getting people screwed. So again, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And looking at it from a strategic point, an LLC or a corporation, which we're not talking about specifically, but they're brothers. They're brothers. They give you benefits that you wouldn't otherwise have. And so when is that important? There's certain instances in which case I don't recommend a LLC or a liability shield, but those are rarer than not because of the liability protection that it gives you. Okay. So these are just some of the thoughts. Is it too late? Probably not. Like the answer is probably not. It might be. There's other considerations. This is not at all exhaustive. There might be some instances in which case it is too late. And I mean, not to be morbid about it, but when you die, obviously, you can't create an LLC. And then you're dealing with probate and trust issues and all sorts of other stuff. And it's complicated. So the more you know and the more you're able to help, the better off you'll be. And the more proactive you are. The biggest problem I see with a lot of entrepreneurs, businesses, they get analysis paralysis, and they work on things that might not be the best, all for the sake of feeling like they're doing something. And I'll give you a for instance. If you have worked on your logo more than you've worked on your business, because your logo feels like something that you can do. Your business might be sitting there going, hey, I'm over here, help. And you're like, nah, I got my business, I got my logo. Just using that as a for instance. Okay? Procrastination is not your friend in business. It can hurt you. And that's what we're really talking about here. Don't procrastinate. Don't think that it can't happen to you. I can't tell you how much. I can't even tell you the number of people that don't believe it will happen to them, and it does. And I say this, you might be special, but you're not that special. Your mommy and daddy may think you're special. Your girlfriend, your children, your people that love you think you're special. But in law and in life, there are too many trends and too many patterns to say that you are that special when it comes to that. That you'll never get sued, that you'll never need to enforce your contract, that you'll never be found in breach of contract. And there's so many things that we could talk about in this. And I'm not trying to scare you into doing it. That's not my goal in talking with you. But you need to look at this realistically. You need to look at this from a planning perspective. Are you planning on being in business in 2 years from now? Or are you just going, I hope I'll be in business, right? Different mindset. If you know you're going to be in business 2 years from now, then you need an LLC now. If you're just seeing how it goes, I would argue you haven't committed enough. You need to commit more. That's the other positive reason for doing an LLC. It is a commitment. It is not something you just go, yeah, okay, I'm good. No, it's a commitment. And in California, there's a tax that goes with that minimum commitment. It's a minimum $800 tax that's due every year for having that business entity. So I tell you that not to, again, it's not about scaring you. It's about letting you know the truth about the matter. But are you kind of a side entrepreneur, or are you a serious entrepreneur? Are you working towards goals, or are you just kind of hoping to see what happens? I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm just simply telling you, if you're in the camp where you want to make things happen, then you need to take your business seriously. I've said this in other episodes, other podcasts, other things, is the number one difference between whether a business is successful or not successful. It's not about the money. It's not about the economy. It's not about the stock market, which is not the economy, just FYI. It's not about what your spouse says. It's not about what your parents say. It's not about your high school friends that are telling you you're a fool. The number one reason why businesses fail is their attitude. They fail to make the transition from employee to business owner and treat your business like a business. If you still think you're an employee, you're going to fail. Because now the decisions all start and stop with you. So it's a change of mindset from willy-nilly, I'm an employee over here, I can quit my job if I feel like it, to I'm all in. I'm doing everything to make this business successful. Whatever success is to you. Doesn't necessarily have to be money. It could be time. It could be passive income. There's lots of options. That's one of the things I love about entrepreneurship, is that it's not just one set definition of success. In a lot of businesses, like when you're an employee, the definition of success is climbing that proverbial corporate ladder. You start out as an intern and go on and move forward, and you're chair of the department, and then maybe you get to VP, and then maybe you get to an executive role, and so you climb that corporate ladder. That's the definition. That's a very narrow view of success in corporate America. And in entrepreneurship, there are so many opportunities for success, for things that you don't even know about right now. But it's the mindset of I'm a business owner that's going to make the difference. I make decisions on what's best for my company and my family or me, whoever it is that you're making decisions on, not based on how do I say this? Who's the politics of corporations, okay? Because now you're at the top of that. You're no longer sitting at the bottom. Or, please, sir, can I have some more? You're not a beggar, okay? Don't get me wrong. There are times that you're going to be lean in business. It's not suggesting that it's going to be all cakewalk. But the idea that you're hoping for that corporate, gimme is something that you need to transition and look at different definitions of success. And part of that is not procrastinating. Part of that is building a business the right way the first time, so that you're not scrambling to catch up. Litigation isn't ruining your life. Contracts aren't screwing you, so on and so forth. So that's that's it. If you've gotten value out of this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and like. Notify we go live Monday through Friday, most of the time at 11. Have a good one.